Peacemaker is back and ready to make you eat peace in a whole new universe. Christopher Smith and the 11th Street Kids are ready to cause havoc in the DCU. But is this season an upgrade? Peacemaker. What a joke.
You ready for the next adventure, pal?
Peacemaker Season 1 was a surprise smash hit for James Gunn. Spitting the character out of the Suicide Squad, Christopher Smith went from a D-bag we love to hate to an emotionally complex anti-hero who we found ourselves rooting for. Me personally, I loved Season 1 of Peacemaker, but I was unaware just how popular this character had become since then. This means that there was a lot of pressure on Season 2 to deliver, as it has been years since we last saw the show, and we are in a whole new era of DC. How does Peacemaker fit into James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU, and will this change affect the show that we all fell in love with? I am happy to report that after watching the first 5 episodes of Peacemaker Season 2, it is very much the same show, giving us a sophomore season that I feel is even better than the first. Let's just get this out of the way, because I think a lot of people are going to ask how exactly this show handles the transition from DCEU to DCU, and that all gets answered almost immediately, which means you can just lock in and enjoy the ride, because trust me, Season 2 is a hell of a ride. Everything is ramped up this time around, from action to drama to the humor, and of course, the opening. Season 1 of Peacemaker made TV history by having an opening title sequence that became instantly iconic. James Gunn promised to deliver a new opening sequence this time around, and he absolutely delivered. I think the new opening works so damn well because not only does it build on the previous one, but it also fits the journey that James Gunn is taking these characters on. It's very interpretive in a lot of ways. In Season 2, Peacemaker discovers an alternate world in the quantum unfolding chamber, where life is everything he wishes it could be. But this discovery also forces him to face his traumatic past and take the future into his own hands. Adding to the mix is Rick Flag Sr., the new head of Argus, who is determined to take down Peacemaker for killing his son, Rick Flag Jr. And you have a Season 2 that is absolutely insane. The brilliance of James Gunn is that he's a master at taking high-concept storytelling to craft stories that are grounded by character work. Season 1 deconstructed the brash and pompous Peacemaker using body-snatching aliens, while Season 2 uses alternate dimensions to break down the character of Christopher Smith. It feels very 60s and 70s sci-fi in a way, very reminiscent to the insanity of the Silver Age of comic books, or even Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. Chris discovers an alternate world, and what he finds on that Earth is used to really explore the trauma he experienced growing up. John Cena is delivering the best performance of his career here, in my opinion. He takes all the layers he has built with this character and continues to push them even further. We see Chris as a more emotionally evolved person, and Cena never backs down from that vulnerability, while still being able to deliver on the laughs and the fun that we all enjoyed from the previous season. Beyond just Peacemaker, I think a lot of the characters are well developed in Season 2, as we continue to add depth to the 11th Street Kids following the events of Season 1. There's not a single bad performance here. Steve Agee is wonderful as John Economos, who has a lot to do this season. Danielle Brooks is the heart and soul of the show as Leota Adebayo, and I not only love Danielle Brooks as a performer, but I also love Adebayo as a character. And we really see her deal with the ramifications of her actions at the end of Season 1, and how that affects her both personally as well as professionally. Jennifer Holland is a huge standout this time around as we explore the inner workings of Amelia Harcourt and why she is so closed off and aggressive. Holland leaves it all on the mat with a performance that is layered and very physical at times. Freddie Stroma. What can I say about Freddie Stroma as Vigilante other than he is still my favorite character? He adds the perfect dash of insanity to this ragtag group while also leaving me in stitches every time he opens his mouth and speaks. However, Tim Meadows might actually give him a run for his money this season, because his character definitely fills that D-bag role that Peacemaker did in Season 1. Frank Grillo returns as Rick Flag Sr., having appeared in both Creature Commandos and Superman prior to this. We see a much more abrasive version of that character, which at times can feel a little inconsistent, but overall I think he works. With this story spinning out of Creature Commandos and Superman, Peacemaker continues to flesh out the DCU, and we are really starting to see the connective tissue form. There are things referenced here that are carried over from Superman that may give us an indication at where this universe is headed, and what's brilliant is that all of that is incorporated into the story, so it never feels forced or disjointed, and it never disconnects you from the plot. I'm really excited to see Gunn and Safran explore this style of storytelling as we get more shows and movies in the DCU. I want to see if they're able to maintain each story having a unique tone while also having interconnectivity between the stories. James Gunn has spoken a lot about how each project in the DCU will have a different tone and feel, and I think Peacemaker is the example of just that. I mean, coming from Superman, which was this movie that inspired us and gave us so much hope and left us feeling very, very inspired, we now jump into Peacemaker, which, listen, if you've seen Peacemaker 1, you know the tone of Peacemaker, and that is vastly different from the tone of Superman. And I think that is what is making the DCU feel so fresh and what makes these stories work. Overall, Season 2 of Peacemaker is another major win for James Gunn and the DCU. Gunn, so far, for me personally, is 3 for 3 in this new universe, and my excitement builds with every new project. We take all the things that worked last time and we build upon it, giving us a second season that is bigger in every way while still keeping the focus on the characters. And in a show like Peacemaker, what more can you really ask for? With that being said, on a scale of 1 to 5 Peacemaker helmets, I am giving Peacemaker Season 2 4.5 out of 5 helmets. I really, really loved this season of the show. I personally think that Season 2 is an improvement upon Season 1, and having seen the first 5 episodes, I am so locked in for those last 3. Like, you have no idea how much torture it is that I have to wait to watch them, but either way, I think you'll all enjoy this show, so I highly recommend you see it when it releases on HBO Max August 21st.